Now, to demystify this, we have on our panel today Mr. Sarath. He's the global head HXM services with 27 plus years of experience. Mr. Nagesh Polu, who's the global pre-sales lead for SAP HSM practice. He's also the SuccessFactors lead consultant with 16 plus years of experience. And I'm also delighted to introduce Ms. Swati. She's the head OCM and people advisories at YASH Technologies. Now, before we dive into our presentation, a quick key takeaways for today's session, which will help you to answer the broader questions like enhance employees' experience through streamlined workforce management, embrace the power of generative AI in transforming recruitment and skill development, gain insight for strategic workforce planning and organizational growth. Yeah, that's about it. So now, without further ado, let's start with the presentation. Over to you, Sarath.
Yeah, thank you very much, Naveen. So, very warm welcome to all the attendees. So, YASH is basically a global organization. We are based out of East Moline, our headquarters, and we equally spread across the globe, having about 40 plus locations. So, we go wherever customers need us. So, with about 28 years of presence in the market as a primary system integrators, we do everything in the IT space. So, having about 8,500 plus people. So, they are the right kind of skills and expertise that we have. And we are the transformative partner of choice in terms of the Fortune 500 companies, having about 70 plus companies. We have been helping them in terms of their digital transformation and doing many things in the IT space. And we are Amidst recognized. And the other important thing is that we do all have the accreditations that typically an IT company requires and shows the maturity of the process and the systems that we have, and we bring to the customers in delivering those expertise and experiences. And one of the other important thing that YASH always pride about it is their people. You know, the certifications that what we had as a best company to work with is actually talks about the kind of practices that we have as an YASH as an organization, and how we take care of our employees, and then the kind of experience that each individual or employee is putting in with the YASH Technologies is almost phenomenal. So the retention rate is very high in YASH Technologies, and the kind of each employee is having about 15 or 14 years of experience. So this talks about the YASH as an organization, how friendly it is for the employees, and so on and so forth. Yeah, can you move to the next slide? And as I mentioned, YASH is actually always go with the customer's need, addressing the customer need. So we have the global presence across multiple continents, and our major presence is actually start with the India, where we have development centers located in multiple cities in India: Indore, Hyderabad, Pune. So you have very sophisticated kind of COEs within these locations. And similarly, we have a very good presence in terms of US and Europe, Middle East, etc. So we are almost there in every continent, and with the local. What it means is that we have the global capabilities and also the local flavor. You know, that's what typically we bring to our customers. You know, we ensure that the mix, the culture is what we need to be very careful in terms of dealing with the people. So the cultural mix is what we ensure always in delivering our projects. So, and the expertise, of course, not compromising on quality and skills of the product. And yeah, this is our global presence. Yeah, can you move on to the next slide? Okay, so before I dwell on to today's topic of workforce, enhancing the experience of workforce with SuccessFactors, of course, the key challenges is, is the important thing that we want to touch upon, how these challenges are actually posed with the kind of many business avenues are open, but equally there are numerous challenges that the HR fraternity and HR leaders are facing today. So in terms of I think that, yeah, in terms of the business opportunities that are growing and the challenges, what the HR fraternity is facing is some of the key challenges is that inconsistent employee experience, limited analytics insights, and then fragmented HR systems. So there are many challenges, but some of these key challenges are already really kind of, uh,
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Actually, there was some issue on the screen share. I think, yeah, there were some boxes. So we just reshared this. Yeah,
yeah,
we can
thank you.
continue.
Sorry about that. So
Sorry
there's
about that.
yeah, so the limited employee development opportunities. So what actually the HR fraternity is actually facing today is that how to address these global challenges with the business opportunities that they are having. What are the systems that they need to embark on? How do they unify get the unified systems in place? How do they actually automate their process? And what are the different things that they can actually embrace into their HR landscape so that their employees and they have a seamless experience and with the systems that they are going to use it. So the one side, the challenges are there. Of course, the current market, the HCM market, is indicating that the human experience management is growing in multiple folds. So what it is actually telling us that the HR fraternity is addressing these challenges quite competitively in terms of embracing the new technologies and then automating the business, unifying the systems, improving their digital HR landscapes, and implementing new tools and technologies. And that's what the business is actually showing, the kind of multiple folds it is growing. If you look at the business aspect, so USD in 2023, I think the human experience management business is around $26 billion US dollars, but it is expected to go about 70,000 billion in terms of the by 2027. So this is enormous. What it actually means is that every organization is started looking at their the HR landscape and they're trying to do the digital transformation. So that is where the business is actually looking at and then improving their HR footprints into the doing the digital transformations. Yeah. Can you move on to the next slide? Can you move on to the next slide? Yeah. So of course, when it comes to the challenges and the technology aspects of the HR, obviously the COVID and pre-COVID and post-COVID, this is the era that a lot of changes have come in, especially during the COVID times. I think the kind of business disruption that happened, that actually, a kind of jolt for every organization as they have not been faced such a kind of situation where they had to confine their employees only to the home, and yet they have to start working on delivering it. That's where really the organizations have started looking at the HR fraternity and HR leaders. So the HR leaders really have to look at what kind of HR tools that they can introduce very quickly, and then where their employees can adopt it during this the pandemic, and they're able to actually improve the adoption and then usage by these employees, and so that the entire business roles are integrated and the business has moved very well during this particular time frame. So during and post COVID, again, the employee well-being is something that the organization have to keep in mind, and also they have to introduce the new work models. Obviously post COVID, there are systems that require to integrate and run across the organizations where the headcount is spread across the globe, and then people are working in different models and different shifts and different time zones, yet they have to be integrated, having the unified experiences. I think that is where I think success factors had made a very key role in terms of having all the required the functionalities typically for an organization to run effectively their HR process, which is fully integrated and automated. And the top of it, the employee, the success factors has also got the AI component. So these are the some of the aspects that actually we want to touch upon before we get on to the actual topic of how success factors can effectively introduce or probably help the organizations in terms of improving their digital experience by enabling the AI? And what are the different organizations have already done or doing rather? And what are our competencies, YASH competencies in the space, and how are we placed? So these are some of the aspects. My colleague Nagesh is going to lead that, and he will be sharing all that with you. Thank you. Over to you, Nagesh.
Thank you, Sharat. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon, based on your time zone. So, Sharat, I mean, you rightly mentioned, yes, it's a pre-COVID and post-COVID, but I would say these days it's like a pre-Chat GPT and post-Chat GPT, because most of the companies, they are now going AI side. Yes, I mean, COVID did an impact in the market, but again, Chat GPT, made us to forget COVID, actually, to be honest. So today's topic, so people we are going to talk, how to enhance the workforce. Obviously, we are going to focus more on success factors. I mean, Yash has various services, I mean, in terms of HRIS, but today our main focus will be on success factors and how success factors will help you to, gain insights into your workforce planning, how success factors is helping various audience globally, like in terms of AI and all. So before we go ahead there, let me introduce YASH SuccessFactors Global Practice. As you see on the screen, we are, I mean, you can say one of the partners who were very much into market even before SAP acquired SuccessFactors. So it means we were doing SuccessFactors services even before SAP, introduced SuccessFactors as a HRIS tool in the market. So as you see on the screen, in like any other partner, YASH does, I mean, all the services, you name it, we do it. Even I will introduce few unique selling points where, what we do uniquely when it compares to, other partners in the market. Coming to the suite, yes, we take care of your talent management, we take care of your core HR. Even recently, we have implemented AI assistants as well. So we were very much into the race. We are front runners in AI as well. Maybe I can take a pride saying that, we are the first implementation partners to do AI assistance in success factors. Globally, I think we are in top three who did, AI implementation on success factors. So coming to the services, yes, we do implementations, we do support, we do training. Again, like when it comes to training, yes, we can handle training during your implementations, like unit testing kind of, where we provide you the scripts and you just go through it. But again, there are situations where many of our customers came to us and asking, can you guys train our HR team, so that, they can start working more rigorously on success factors. And one other best part is we are pioneers in integration. So we have a huge experience. I mean, I can say, we are the best in industry, where we did integration of success factors with various systems like ADP, anything. I mean, you name it, we did. I mean, like S4HANA, if you talk about payroll, yes, ADP, ADP GV, ADP Celigro, various kinds of ADP. And again, we also integrated success factors with ServiceNow kind of tools where, an employee is onboarded, and once you want to have these tickets integrated with your ServiceNow tool or Jira tool, yes, we did those kind of integrations, and we have accomplished a lot of automations using these middleware tools like SAP CPI or Dell Boomi or MuleSoft. So we have been doing this in the market from past 15 to 20 years with SAP, as well as once we started doing SuccessFactors services, yes, we started, doing automations even on that. And coming to our numbers, I mean, these are pretty much interesting. We did, I mean, as of today, if you ask me, we did around 185 plus implementations, though we see 180 plus on the screen. But as of today, if you ask me, it's we did 185 plus implementations. We have a global team size where, we have around 200 plus consultants who are mostly certified. And as I said, we were always a front runners in the market. So we have been doing automations. We have been, again, as I said, we did a AI implementation as well recently, where, you'll see very few partners doing it globally. So we have been nominated as best SFS partner for 2020, 2018, 2020. And again, we are in the race for this year as well. And if you see our pride, I mean, we have been doing success factor services globally. We did implementations in North America. We did implementations in Europe. We did in Gulf. We did in Asia Pacific region, Australia, every continent. I mean, we covered entire globe when it comes to implementations, as well as when you compare with other partners. Our unique thing is we just not implement. we just not support, we just not train, but we also do a health assessment plus advisory services in the market, where it's like a niche, like in the market. So when it comes to health factors, we take care of your health, like system health. So there are many partners in the market, who have been doing kind of process. But again, what YASH does is, let's take an example, like you have SuccessFactors or you have any HRIS. It's not just SuccessFactors or a Workday or whatever. We come as a team, as advisors. We'll test your system. We'll go through your issue log. We'll define, your current HR process, as well as we'll map it with your HRIS system. So these are very unique services. And again, our experts are like, they're like A plus consultants who have a minimum experience of 15 plus in the market, who have been working on SAP HCM, then they have shifted to SuccessFactors. So we have entire experience, so that is where our health factors and X factors come into the picture. So as this speaks about our SuccessFactors practice, now I would like to introduce, how SuccessFactors or any HRAs will enhance employee experience, through a streamlined workforce management, I can say. Maybe Naveen, can you go to next slide? So as you see on the screen, any HRAs, once you have the major, like the major portion or the major target would be like enhancing your employee experiences. So we are all aware, right, that employee experience are directly linked to your, what you can say, your productivity or engagement. Ultimately, it will run your success into your organization, right? So similarly, your employees should feel valued, supported, and have all the tools, ready and in place. Like when it comes to employee experience, enhancing experience, they should have seamless onboarding. They should be seeing, all the welcome messages or whatever the support they need during the onboarding. Similarly, once they have the tools like SuccessFactors, any employee, it could be a manager, it could be a HR, or it could be an employee. Obviously, they will speak about, what kind of self-services they can perform. It's not that every time employee has to reach out to their manager or to their HRBP or someone in the admin side. But tools like SuccessFactors will always allow employees with, have the capabilities of self-services, where they can perform few tasks like updating their personal names or first name, second name, or if they have some work permit documents they want to upload. Yes, SuccessFactors system will allow you to do that. These are like services or to streamline the employee process. Like this will involve a lot of things, as you see on the screen, like starting from recruiting to retire. You need to ensure, employee is getting the enhanced experiences. So in the same terms, like once the self-service is done, and once a candidate or an employee is in the system, you will have to evaluate the performance, right? So until unless you don't evaluate the performance, or until unless you don't uh, assign a KRA to them, so again, it will lead to a wrong stage. So the SuccessFactors comes with a module called performance management and goal management, where starting of the year you can assign the goals, and then employee will be evaluated at the end of the year. And yes, obviously once it is done, they will get their appraisals, and everything can be done on the system with a beautiful enhancements, and then once they are done with the KRS, it's not just like every year they are doing perfectly. Taking pandemic, like what Sharath mentioned, pandemic into a situation. So most of the companies, they realize, upskilling and reskilling is must and should in every organization, because uh, it's not just COVID. Again, as I said, ChatGPT came into the picture. Now everything changed, like a lot of changes are coming in the market. A lot of automations have been enhanced. I mean, AI is taking care of entire market. You name it, all the services are being done on AI. So similarly, you need to ensure employees are getting reskilled or upskilled. So how do we do that? Again, we need to have a system where you can assign a development goal, and then employee can take few courses. So that is like learning management system comes into the picture. Like an employee will be assigned a course, then he or she has to complete the courses, to ensure their development goals are being in target, and then they are in race, like, to take out the other job roles which are available in and unique in the market. Similarly, once they are into development, learning and everything, but again, if you talk about whole self model, like, employee has to also be able to track their time. Like it's not that they are going to dedicatedly working for any organization. So you need to have a feature where they would be able to apply their leaves, they would be apply for their absences, and even they can track their timings. Like they can ensure they are working for up to the time and they're getting paid for what they're working for. So tools like SuccessFactors, again, we have complete set of time management where you have ability to employ to track their leaves, they can update their leaves, they can manage their absences, they can track their attendance, so everything. So when it comes to SuccessFactors, we call it as time off for absences, timesheet, where they can file a timesheet for every week, saying that, yes, even if they are doing overtime, they can always file their overtime on the timesheet. And again, the one more beautiful enhancement SAP brought is like time tracking, where employees can clock in and clock out. So mostly these kind of features are, clock in, clock out is mostly used by salespeople, even though sales is a major portion and evergreen role in the company. So they need to track their, like they need to give a clock in, clock out. It's not that every day they will be in the company, but yes, they have to track. So the time tracking allows employees to clock in, clock out on their mobile. And again, the AI part of SuccessFactors now being brought into the system, and SuccessFactors is being integrated with Microsoft Teams kind of tools, where employees can directly clock in, clock out using the Teams. They can give the feedback on the Teams itself without even logging into the SuccessFactors. So we'll talk into the next slides where like how AI is helping. And other than that, you can always have employee well-being programs designed on the system. You can always have tools like Qualtrics integrated, where you can keep taking satisfaction surveys, so that you'll come to know what kind of experience they need or what kind of challenges they're facing in the organization. And pretty much like you should be covering entire what do you call recruit to retire process in the system, right? So ensure everything is going well, so you need to have employee satisfaction survey conducted every year. But again, so to have an effective workforce management in any organization, it should be a collaborative approach. It's not just, HR being taking care of the systems. Gone those days where, only HR is responsible for an employee performance, or when an employee experience and all. Now it's like a collaborative effort where the management comes into the picture, the admins come into the picture, IT, especially these days when it comes to HRIS, IT is playing a crucial role on the security part. And then as I said, it's not just HR. There are a lot of, learning and development team. Many organizations, VC based on our experience, we are seeing a lot of organizations are coming up with the learning and development teams, because the COVID era, it has ensured that, people are getting upskilled and reskilled. And again, once you have SuccessFactors into the place, you have mobile accessibility, right? Once you have mobile, you can always have these notifications triggered on mobile. You can enable, disable any kind of modules on the mobile. Again, you can request your manager directly on the mobile. It's not that every time employee has to log into the web browsers kind of. They can always use mobile accessibility. Having taken these into the considerations, there could be a question from the audience saying that, how can organizations plan their strategic workforce planning seamlessly? As I said, it's a main essence. Again, it should be like there should be right people in the right place to enhance, the workforce management. It's not like, as I said, gone those days where only HR is responsible for ensuring employee expense. No, this is like if you see the title itself, we started calling it as human experience management. Previously, yeah, like in 2000s, we used to call it as human capital management. The capital has been reshaped as an experience, because everything depends on how employees being treated. Again, end of the day, the way they get the experience, it is directly linked to their productivity, their engagement, and ultimately, as I said, it is like what defines the success of any organization. So as I defined, like how a strategic plan can be done and how we can enhance the experience using SuccessFactors. But again, as we clearly mentioned, now we are into a chat GPT era. So how SuccessFactors is taking AI seriously, and what all are included in SuccessFactors here. I will just, today we'll just give an example of generative AI. Again, when we speak about AI, again, we have subsets, like They call it as generative AI, conversational AI, predictive AI. You can call it as deep learning, machine learning. I mean, there are a lot of things, but end of the day, I mean, I request everyone not to get confused. It's like, we are streamlining the employee and we are ensuring we are bringing best out of us. The main use of AI is like just bringing best out of us. So that is where I will showcase one example today on the generative AI part, how, like success factors process or a HR process has been redefined using AI. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So as you see on the screen, so this one example I always talk, like even SAP is discussing a lot on YouTube or wherever you see, right? So generative AI. So what a generative AI does is, I mean, like, as I said, even before going there, as I said, first I will introduce what is generative AI. It's nothing but, like the best example would be a job description generator. Even though we have job roles defined in systems like SuccessFactors, many times we see that, every time, we have to curate the content so that we get a perfect resources in the company, right? So we need to ensure the job role is being defined properly so that we get a perfect set of candidates to apply for the job. So generative AI will help you where, like you can always enhance your job description. So AI will take care of everything. It's like you're eliminating manual task in being, making changes to the job content every day. No. So AI will take care. It's just one click. You click on enhance job description with AI. SuccessFactors will, like talk to the AI, and the AI will generate a few contents where you can compare the present content with the AI generated content. We'll showcase a quick demo as well in the upcoming slides. So as you see on the screen, like before AI was introduced on SuccessFactors, the process of creating a job role or creating a job content was like, HR initiating, job posting workflow and then defining a job role description, then manually, the people responsible for talent acquisition, they just do a manual job description creation, and then, they have to collaborate with other, I mean, the hiring manager or the COE where, they want to confine saying that, okay, the job descriptions look good, and then they'll start publishing it on the website. Candidate screening will be done, and like the process continues. But once we have the AI embedded in SuccessFactors, if you see on the screen, it becomes so easy. Once the posting workflow is done, the definition of job role, like everything is being taken care by AI. That's a beauty. I mean, like we will showcase a demo as well. The job description enhancement will be taken care, the generation will be taken care, interview process and support is being taken care through MS Teams. It's not that you have to log into the SuccessFactors and do. No, even like you can generate interview questions. So the main, as I said, right, it's bringing the best version out of us. It's not that we are totally depending on AI. I mean, I always repeat this statement. We are not automating, or I don't say that, world is getting into automation. No. So the AI will really help you to enhance the experience, bringing best out of you. So same way, the candidate will get the complete support, and then candidate evaluation also can be done using AI, on the rating part, or as I said, we can have perfect interview questions based on your job role description. So even, as I said, it's not just even like you can always give other options like conversational AI. So when it comes to conversational AI, what happens is like now you have Joule integrated with SuccessFactors, which I mean you daily task, like let's say to create a position. What do you do? I mean, we go to the system, we then going to manage positions, and then we create a new position, and then we create a job requisition and blah blah. But when it comes to AI, when it comes to conversational AI, once you integrate a Joule with SuccessFactors, so you can have just a statement. Can you create a position and do a job posting? Done. So everything will be taken care by AI. So Joule is into the picture. I mean, like customers globally started implementing. Currently, Joule is available for North American and UK customers, where it is planned to be rolled out in upcoming upgrade in April. So slowly you will see most of the HR, or employees will have better experience using, like they can get it with a one statement saying that, can I have my first name, or can I have my legal name on the screen, or can I know my balance, time of balances, so that I can apply for a leave or kind of. I'll show you an example, in the coming slides. Can you move to the next slide? So if you see on the screen now, it's like, here what happens is like the system is being used to generate a job description. So this is part of your generative AI. As you see on the screen, on the left side, it's the original job description. On the right side, we have a generated content, right? Similarly, see, the job description generator will allow you to create more, what I can say, a compelling content to the source best for the best candidates. So as I said, to source the best candidates, you need to have compelling content as well as a properly defined content. Similarly, this kind of AI embedded into the system will really reduce the time. I mean, we have spoken to a few of customers. We recently implemented to one of our customers, they have been telling us, this is significantly reducing the time instead of creating manually, every time making changes to job description and all. The job description generator is really helping them to create, the latest and greatest job descriptions available in the market, and then we can really source a best candidate in the market. And then, as I said, the best other feature is you can always have side-by-side comparison. So moving to the next AI, I mean, as I said, these are all subsets of AI, right? So can we move to the next slide, please? So this is again one more enhancement, where it comes under generative AI, where as soon as an interview is scheduled on your SuccessFactors recruiting, right? So MS Teams will take care of major participation here. It will start triggering, saying that, there is a interview schedule, there's a reminder. And as soon as you see a reminder, you can always generate interview questions, So based on the job role, because you already have job description, job role in place in the system. So based on that, system will generate few interview questions. Again, this is not again like you need to follow, but again, system will allow or will showcase the best questions that has to be, part of the interview. And again, as you see on the screen, once the assessment is done, you need to assess a candidate, right? Previously, we used to go to SuccessFactors recruiting. On the interview central, you need to rate the candidates, right? The rating can also be done now on MS Teams. That's again the beauty of, integrating MS Teams with SuccessFactors. You need not again log in. So it's like a one platform where you can do everything. So on MS Teams itself, on the SuccessFactors app, you can directly rate the candidate and keep moving. So can we move to the next slide, please? So then I said conversational AI. So conversational, as I said, it's like a digital assistant, or few people call it as chatbots. So now we have Joule into the picture. So this will, allow professional, flexibility through the availability. I mean, like 24/7 now, employees need not depend on the HR, or they need not depend on, if they want to know something, they can always have this streamlined on the Joule. So again, this again significantly speeds up, the process. It will eliminate any communication gaps kind of. So the major portion is like to make it more smoother and productive when it comes to, work processes. So as you see on the screen, I mean, it's simple, like, if I want to take a feedback, Maya Cooper was being requested and then she gave a feedback, that's it, done. So you are not even logging into your feedback, and you're not even requesting a kind of, you're just doing it like a chat, like what we do in generally in any chatbot, right? You go to any companies like Amazon, or you have a chatbot, predefined chatbot, like, you can get your status track, like where is my product, where is my goods, kind of. Similarly, on the Joule, you can always have your positions created. So currently there are 30 plus scenarios that have been defined through Joule. I mean, in upcoming upgrades, you'll see more and more things being, performed using Joule. So again, this is part of employee experience. You're enhancing their experience. You're ensuring they're getting on time. On time. It's not like no one is available in the office during peak hours. Yes, no need. I mean, employees can always use Joule and then can get whatever the information they can. So can we move to the next slide? So other than generative, conversational, now we do have a machine learning into the picture. So machine learning, or a few people call it as deep learning, or we can always call it called predictive AI. So we have a few products in SuccessFactors now. We have Talent Intelligence Hub, we have Opportunity Marketplace. Now the new learning management system has been enhanced so that system should automatically recommend, and then you can take the courses. Similarly, we have a growth portfolio, skills ontology participating with the talent intelligence hub. I mean, they call it as the brain of SuccessFactors now. So what talent intelligence hub does is like, it will automatically showcase, as you see on the screen, right, the competencies they are into. So this, again, the competencies, you may ask, where are these competencies coming from? So again, these are like, coming from the job roles, what they are into in company. But again, if you see on the top of the screen, there is a section called recommended for you. So the beauty of these tools is, again, the deep learning, what machine learning does is, as soon as, you start speaking to your colleagues or subordinates or your managers on Teams, right? Based on your work performance or based on your chat, SuccessFactors, growth portfolio will all start recommending, okay, based on your chat or based on your discussions with your manager or based on your discussions with your HR. Sorry. Previously, it will start recommending you the competencies you should be focusing on. It will start recommend the skills that you should be focusing more going forward. Again, it will ask you to evaluate. Based on this evaluation, there's a tool called Opportunity Marketplace. What Opportunity Marketplace does is, based on the skills and competencies defined here, so system will automatically start populating the trainings for you. So it will start, recommending automatic trainings based on your competencies and skills. So these are all, like AI features, as I said. Again, I repeat, this is not that we are automating or this is not eliminating any jobs in the market, but this is to bring the best out of you. So once you have these AI, you can always see people getting enhanced, in every way. As I said, one is you're enhancing job descriptions. What will happen directly or indirectly, you will be able to sourcing the best candidates in the market. Again, see, we have been seeing this struggle, pre-COVID or post-COVID, companies have been struggling to meet their talent needs. The reason is, the skills have been upgraded, technology is being changed rapidly. So to ensure that, the talent needs are meeting the needs, right? So you need to ensure you're bringing best out of it. It's not just we are using our brains, but again, have more AI into the place. Start, getting job descriptions generated by AI. Again, you can always use some content from AI plus whatever we have into the picture, right? So you can always combine the content. So this is all about AI and all. So now we have seen, how to enhance the workforce. We have seen, how to gain insights to the workforce planning. We have seen, how AI is helping organizations now. But bringing all this together, if you are planning to even implement, or if you're planning to enhance, or if you're planning to bring digital transformation into the picture, even if you say, okay, we have SuccessFactors, but we are planning to upgrade few things, like we are planning to implement or integrate AI, we need to have a process defined, right? We need to have a robust change management into the picture. We need to have a people management being taken care. We need to have a implementation methodology being defined, or an enhancement or an upgrade methodology has to be defined. So to brief you on this, I will introduce Swati, or I will let Swati to take the floor and introduce YASH and YASH OCM capabilities. Swati, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nagesh. Thank you everyone for joining us on this conversation today. So just some common themes that my colleagues Sharath and Nagesh have actually been talking about, and which is primarily around digital transformation and the focus on technology, and how technology has been a disruptor in the past few years, and what the implication of that is for an organization, right? So every time a new technology or the rate of technology changes, what it means is that the expectation is that the employees who are getting impacted by that particular technology or by any transformation initiative that is coming into play, they should be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn faster. They should also be able to adapt to the new transformation initiatives, to the new technologies, to the new process faster. And how do we do that? To bring all of that storyline together is where organization change management comes into play. So in a very simple and layman term, if we talk about what change management is, it is primarily focused on the people side of change. So when we talk about SuccessFactor, when we talk about any other ERP implementation, what does it basically means for an organization, right? It means that there is going to be a technology change. It could also mean that there could be a change in the current way of working to a new way of working. It could also mean a process change or any other sort of change, right? Roles changing, responsibilities changing, so on and so forth. How do you ensure that the people who are getting impacted by any transformation initiative are moving from a current state to a future state in a very seamless way, and also ensuring that there is minimal disruption to business as usual? So that is the point that we would want to drive, and also to drive the fact that how critical organization change management has become uh, when whenever an organization is driving a transformation initiative in their particular any space, any function, or is it a multi-geography or a global rollout, how critical it is to make sure that your people, while undergoing multiple changes, multiple transformation initiatives, we are making sure that the change fatigue is not setting in. And if at all that is an issue that we need to address, then how do we address it with the change interventions that we plan? So with that in mind, the screen that you see in front of you is primarily talking about the fact that digital transformation and the rate at which the technology is changing, it is not going anywhere. If at all, it is going to be one of the biggest area of changes, in the current year that we have in front of us. And from a change management perspective, what it means for us is that there are going to be certain elements that we have to be very cognizant and careful of when we are driving change management. Uh, on top of all the pointers that I would like to talk about, the primary one is that it is very critical to have buy-in and alignment from your leadership. It is important that your leadership is aligned with the transformation initiative. Have an early buy-in and make sure that they are actively and visibly supporting the program. So that is what makes or breaks a transformation initiatives right from the beginning, right? Other than that, a structured change management to drive the overall program very, very cohesively, linked with the project management side of things and the project management milestone is again very critical. And other than that, making sure that your different stakeholder groups are actively involved at the right time, at the right frequency, and making sure that right kind of communication is going out. We are building visibility, we are building awareness throughout the program milestone to make sure that the different phases that an employee goes through, right, from an awareness phase to a desire phase to making sure that they have capability by giving them trainings, which Nagesh talked about, and then also making sure that they are able to demonstrate those capabilities, right? So the ability to demonstrate the capabilities is also important. And lastly, and one of the most important factors is also making sure that we are reinforcing the change. How do we ensure that whatever change interventions we have done, at the end of the day, when an organization is expected to self-sustain, right? When the project implementations teams have moved away, when the change intervention teams have moved away, how do we ensure that the change is sticking? So sustaining the change and reinforcing the change also becomes very critical. So if we move on to the next screen, what we are trying to, Naveen, if you move on to the next screen, what we are trying to emphasize is the fact how, people are at the core of any digital transformation journey. And some of the elements that we can look at to ensure that, when they are moving from a current state to a future state, the kind of benefits that we can accrue by having a structured organization change management. So some of the elements that I already touched upon, right? So stakeholder management, making sure the leadership is involved right from the start, having focused communication, having role-based trainings and trainings, right? Not just at after UAT, after SIT, but also making sure that we are giving them visibility in terms of what the system is all about, right? Right at the beginning of the program could be very essential in understanding how the business requirements have to be done, to understand what could be the expectations around what they would want from the system. So it is not just training at the end of the program, but also making sure that there is a integrated training solution throughout the program which is taking place. And lastly, to have a proper governance around whatever change interventions, whatever project milestones we are at, are we doing pulse checks, are we doing effectiveness assessment, are we checking that whatever we are doing at the end of the day, is it effective? Is it making the difference it is supposed to make? So those are the critical elements that we look at from a change management perspective. And how it can benefit us at the end of the day, by driving user adoption, by making sure that there is lesser resistance to change, by making sure that your people are upskilled and are comfortable with the new system or the new technology that has been introduced in the system, and also by making sure that they buy into the program. See, ultimately, desire is a state or a choice that an employee has to make. So while we can do n number of change managements, right? But if the desire to change is not there, your program sort of, that becomes a barrier to your program in itself. So it is very, very essential to ensure that, all of these elements are taken care of while we are undergoing that journey. So if we move to the next screen after this, what we are then talking about next is, the overall capability and solutions that we have from a YASH technology perspective. So, initially when we talked about organization change management, I talked about the support that we give during the project lifecycle. However, if we look at the overall scheme of things, these days there are solutions that address the pre-project requirements from a change management perspective, and also make sure how to measure and track the user adoption after the project lifecycle has finished. So if you look at your screen right now, the three different buckets that you have, and under that, you'll see, very high level buckets on the change interventions, which are there to address, the different phases of a change management requirement, which could potentially be there, right? So very early assessment. So even before a program kicks off, if there are requirements around ensuring or building a case for change, right? How do we build a case for change? So that could be very important, and some of the organization would want to ensure that their objectives, their goals are linked with the program that or the transformation initiative that they want to establish, right? So building the benefit of case right upfront, building the case for change, making sure that you've identified your stakeholder groups, you've identified your leadership, you've aligned them even before the program kicks off. So those are some of the early diagnostics and assessments that we do as part of the pre-project OCM activities. The typical project lifecycle contains of, the stakeholder engagement, the impact assessment, making sure that we have a cohesive change management intervention, which is aligned with the project milestones, communications, training, benefit case for stakeholders, rewards and recognition, so on and so forth. And then, interestingly, we also have, a newer, I would say, relatively change management offerings, which is around driving the user adoption side of things. So, like I said, that once the self-sustaining mode kicks off, how do you ensure that whatever interventions have been done throughout the program, they are sticking, right? Or the users are adopting to the system. And if we move to the next slide, the way we sort of capture, and I would like to, showcase that with some of the real life examples, is that, typically what we tend to do is we have key performance indicators that we identify under the three key buckets when we talk about digital transformation, right? So people, process, and technology. Now, under each of these high-level buckets, there could be multiple KPIs that we can tag. And just to give you a few examples, right? So from a people perspective, so post go live, how is the service delivery side of things? How is the response to any tickets which is getting raised? Is there an accuracy around it? Is there are they sticking to the service, the SLAs that was signed up, right? So what is the turnaround time in terms of how they're responding or by when they're responding? So those could be some of the KPIs that you would want to track. From a technology standpoint, you would probably want to track some of the user engagement matrix, right? So interaction with the platform, the page views from a login perspective, the time spent on system, the usage of reports, so on and so forth. From a process perspective, adherence to the processes or non-compliance of the processes is something that you would want to understand. If people have understood the new processes, they understand the new way of working, and how to then apply it in the new way of working, right? So if people are being non-compliant on the processes, or they're not adhering to the current or the new processes, that is something that we track as part of the user adoption capabilities and solutions that we are offering in the market. So I believe with that, we are just summarizing on and briefly, very, very briefly touching on the change management side of things. So while this gives you probably a 30,000 or a 50,000 feet view of what organization change management brings to the table and how it sort of integrates the three key pillars of people, process, and technology. But yes, it now these days has become a very core solution that is integrated with any ERP implementation and technology that we are taking to the market. And with that, I will pass on the mic back to Naveen. Naveen, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Swati. So before we leave you, I think we have an interesting question which I can see on the screen. So the user has asked, is OCM required in all technology implementation? And if yes, then can you help us with any example or case study where we have measured the user adoption as the context?
Right. Yeah. So again, when we talk about the fact that whether OCM is required in all technology implementations or not, depends on the the quantum of the change that we are measuring, right? So if it is a very minor integration upgrade or a very minor change in technology, right, that would probably be something that an organization can manage by themselves. So when we talk about the criticality or the requirement of change management, we basically measure it when we do a change impact assessment. And this is done again early on in the program, where we try and understand that whatever is the change, right? Whatever is triggering the change, so to say. And triggers could be multiple. It could be technology driven, it could be non-technology driven. And some of the examples like Sharath and Nagesh called out, right? So it could be situational, like COVID related, right? So the way people changed from going to office, then to a completely different work model, or it could be moving from a legacy system to a new technology system, or a no manual way of working to a new way of working where technology is required, right? So depending on the kind of change it is and the level of impact it has on people from technology standpoint, from process standpoint, how high it is, how much is the quantum of change, what kind of interventions it requires from a training perspective, from a communication perspective, from building a self-sustaining change agent network to make sure that even after the project implementation team has rolled off, there are people or champions who are available for queries around functionality, around technology, around system. So depending on all those factors is where OCM comes into play, whether it is required or not required. And in terms of the second element that you asked, which is around example or a real-time this thing. So from an adoption KPI perspective, we are actually currently working with one of the clients in our Middle East region, wherein we are supporting them with their user adoption program. And we have identified around 13 odd KPIs around the three buckets that I was mentioning around people, process, and technology. 8 months already on the project, and we have quite a few benefit realizations into play. So around the 20 odd business units that we were looking at from a user adoption perspective, we have around more than 60% of the business units who have already met their target scorecard of KPI adoption, if I may put it. So it is definitely a process that takes time to make sure and understand, the user adoption and to measure the effectiveness of user adoption. But it is the results and the benefits that come out of it are significant and, something which organizations appreciate. I hope I have answered the question.
Absolutely, Swati. So coming on to the next question, which is for Nagesh. Mr. Betji there has asked, if we have a job requisition which is already there implemented on SAP, so what are the next steps to enable the AI functionality and implement the configuration?
Yeah, thanks, Naveen. I mean, I already answered on the live, but again, so Mr. Bit, so as I said, there are diverse AI capabilities available now, starting from generative AI to deep learning. So depending on your request, so it would be mostly like job description generator, where you need to purchase an additional license before any partner can implement. Maybe you can reach out to us post this webinar. We will help you to acquiring these licenses, and then we can also guide you on how to pick the required AI units. Again, any AI, I mean, SAP is defining in a units, so you can purchase the preset of AI units, like number, depending on number of messages or number of job descriptions you want to generate per year. So we can always meet post this webinar and we can help you, acquiring these licenses.
Thank you, Nagesh. Thank you for answering that. So the another question is from Caroline. She's asking, can this SF system be linked to any other HR system or software?
Is it SF or, I mean, I didn't get the question.
Actually, she's just mentioned, can this be linked to other HR system and software? So I see could be a possibility that the question is incomplete. No problem. I'll move on to the next question. So which is
So maybe even before going to the next question, I mean, so I would say yes, sir. As far as I understand, yes, SuccessFactors can be integrated with various systems. As I said, it would be like your major, every data is being placed on your SuccessFactors. We can always integrate with various payroll systems or your ServiceNow kind of tools. So, where ticketing tools are placed. So we can integrate SuccessFactors. Hope I answered the question.
Right. That perfectly answers it. Yeah, she has also written thanks. Thanks, Caroline, for asking that. So the next question is, do we get any product upgrades? And if updates is, then what will be the additional cost?
Yeah. So when it comes to SuccessFactors, we have a biannual updates. Those are free of cost. So it would be like, opt-in and opt-outs. Not every upgrade is mandatory, but again, SuccessFactors will keep upgrading the system every year biannually. You can choose what to, what will really fit into your organization, and they're absolutely free of cost. But when it comes to enhancements, like as I told you, right, a few things on AI or getting a new modules into the picture, yes, you need to purchase the additional licenses. But to be precise, yeah, product updates are free of cost, actually.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yeah, so I think we are done with our Q&A session. I don't see any more questions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our presentation. We extend our heartfelt appreciation to our esteemed expert for their invaluable presence and contribution. The knowledge and insight shared during the session have definitely impressed and enlightened us. We welcome any further queries or feedback, and you can reach us at info@yash.com. That is info@yash.com. Thank you once again for being part of this event. Thank you, experts.
Thank you all.